We're talking with our Packers contributor Jason Wilde about how big of a deal this is for Green Bay. Well, Jason, the Packers took an offensive lineman in the first round of last year's draft. They wouldn't do that again, would they, 2 years in a row?
No. Oh, they very well might, Brady.
Oh.
And here's the thing. They're in a really interesting position on the offensive line because they have three players, Zach Tom, Sean Ryan, and Rasheed Walker, who are all entering the final years of their rookie contracts. And they're not going to sign all three. They drafted Jordan Morgan in the first round last year out of Arizona. They're picking around the same area this year. They're the 23rd pick. Back in 2010, they drafted an Iowa offensive lineman at number 23 named Brian Bulaga. And then in 2011, they drafted another offensive lineman. So it's not out of the realm of possibility, but as we've talked about throughout the week, they do have other needs as well. So there's a lot of ways they could go.
So they have 8 picks overall right now in the draft, right? How many do you think they'll ultimately end up making?
Yeah, that's a good question, Susan, because Brian Gutekunst, the general manager, this will be his 8th draft. 4 of his first 7 drafts, he had at least double digits in terms of picks. Last year he had 13. So he has said publicly he wants more than the 8 picks they've got. If I were to hazard a guess, he'll trade back probably a couple times to accumulate extra picks. Probably around 10, he'll get to that double-digit factor once again.
And since you're the expert, so the Packers seem to always pick in the 20s in their first round. So I guess the drawback to making the playoffs just about every year. So what are the chances of getting an impact player at number 23?
The fact of the matter is that is the drawback, like you said, of winning all the time, is it makes your job harder as a general manager to draft well. Hey, it's easy to get it right if you're picking in the top 5 or the top 10. And a lot of times people still get it wrong, right? Teams make mistakes in the top 10 all the time, but it gets even harder when you're picking in the 20s every year. Now, they picked Jordan Love at number 26 in 2020. They picked Aaron Rodgers at number 24 in 2005. So they can find those types of players. And if they get a little bit lucky and let them sit for a while, they become franchise quarterbacks. But there's no question, Brady, this is a challenging spot to pick in. The thing I'm most curious about is if there is some sort of a ledge where Brian Gutekunst gets to number 23 and he doesn't have anybody on his board that he really thinks is worthy of a first-round pick. Is that one of the spots where he could trade back, accumulate some extra picks, have a team that's desperate to get up to 23 to get a specific player that they like? That's one of the places where there could be some intrigue on Thursday night.
Everybody is so excited about this. Why is this such a big deal for Green Bay to have the draft in Wisconsin?
This is something so special for such a small market. Mark Murphy talked about the fact that they're never going to get a Super Bowl here. They don't have the infrastructure, they don't have the weather, and they don't have the hotel rooms. I think what's going to be most interesting about this is it's going to be more of an intimate setting. If you can have an intimacy when there's 250,000 people in a small town like Green Bay, it's going to be a different vibe than there was in Detroit last year when they had 775 people come through, 775,000 people come through during the course of those 3 days. 250, maybe that's a little more manageable over a 3-day span, but I can't wait to be both frustrated in traffic and see Green Bay shine on the national stage.
Yeah. Better pack yourself some snacks for when you're stuck in the car.
I will definitely do that. I got 2 girls that are always snacking on the go, so I've always got snacks.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Jason.
Thanks, Jason. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. And don't forget, News 3 Now will be talking about the draft all next week. Jason will lead our team coverage with Eric, Zach, and Andrew leading up to the NFL draft.
It'll be a fun and exciting time.